Tonight, further hospitality restrictions lift, a welcome relief for local businesses. And Port Lincoln SES volunteers return home as New South Wales floods ease.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. South Australia is set to further ease its restrictions next week, increasing caps on density numbers. It's been a welcomed move for Port Lincoln's hospitality industry, which was left crippled only months ago.
Just the Easter present the hospitality industry was hoping for.
To us, it's really, really good news.
South Australia easing restrictions next week, despite health advice warning against it. From Wednesday, caps on licensed venues, weddings, churches and cinemas will be increased, just the thirst clencher businesses need it.
We're pretty lucky. Our state government's done a pretty good job.
Capacity at venues will be increased from 50 to 75%, with density requirements lifted from 1 person per 2 square metres to 3 people per 4 square metres.
It means that we can get back to a fairly normal situation in the pub.
From next Wednesday, there'll be no limit to the number of people allowed on the dance floor at venues under 1,000 people, while cinemas, churches and seated entertainment can have 100% capacity if masks are worn.
We can now look at having live music again because we now have the numbers that warrant outlaying for a band, the expense of a band or a DJ.
A far cry from 4 months ago when the state was thrown into lockdown and businesses were brought to its knees.
We're looking at closing our doors, just about. You know, we were lucky that we had really good landlords that looked after us.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Meanwhile, New South Wales will lift almost all COVID-19 restrictions from Monday. Among the changes, scrapping limits on in-home visitors and guests at weddings and funerals. All venues will move to 1 person per 2 square metres, with 25 people allowed before the rule applies.
Once the vast majority of our population is vaccinated, it gives us that little bit more freedom to think about how we can live with COVID, and they're the conversations we're starting to have.
But the Premier warns compliance and QR check-ins must be maintained. The New South Wales Government also announcing a $51 million stimulus package for the tourism and events industry, which will include vouchers for Sydney CBD hotels. Port Lincoln State Emergency volunteers have returned home today while en route to New South Wales. 3 SES members flew to Adelaide last night on their way to Sydney, but were turned back this morning as conditions on the eastern seaboard eased. It does come, however, as floodwaters tragically claimed its first life on the Sydney outskirts yesterday.
When these things come up, we all like to help other units and other places and give them support, and we know that they're in real strife over there at the moment.
In some good news, authorities say most rivers have now peaked and will begin to recede with sunny weather forecast over the coming days. Port Pirie Police has apologised after mistakenly confiscating a bike off an Aboriginal boy who lives with a disability and posting it on social media. Aboriginal community members now calling for more to be done to avoid similar incidents in the future.
This bike at the centre of a mistake wrongly taken by Port Pirie Police, owned by an Aboriginal boy living with an intellectual disability. Police apologised over questioning where the boy got it from and seizing it when he struggled to answer. His youth worker raising the alarm after seeing it posted on SAPOL's Facebook page.
And recognised the bike that my young client had been riding for a few days.
Local leader Lillian Crombie saying the incident has upset many in the Aboriginal community.
I know all the Aboriginal people around Port Pirie and its region, everywhere actually, aren't happy with this. You know, this is not really good.
The bike donated by Lighthouse Youth Projects, it's now handing out ownership cards.
That a young lad was gifted something that was to help him enjoy some freedom, and for it to be taken away for doing nothing wrong, I think it's just disappointing.
In a statement, police say after being contacted by the youth worker, the bike and helmet were returned to the local boy, and officers apologised for any inconvenience caused.
And if that happened to one of my kids, man, I would have been really angry. I'm telling you, I would have been angry.
Lillian now demanding another apology face-to-face in public.
To apologise to that young man on camera, and then I'll be happy.
It's fantastic that the bike has been returned. What I really think now needs to happen, which generally doesn't, but, the conversations need to be had.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, State Labor proposes a hydrogen power station in Whyalla, and Port Pirie's Senior Citizens Club celebrates its 47th reunion. Welcome back. The push for a hydrogen power station has been revealed as one of the key policies the state opposition is taking to the next election. The member for Giles proposing Whyalla as the hub's perfect location.
A plan to hopefully create hundreds of jobs in the region.
During the construction phase, we're talking about hundreds of jobs, and when it comes to the actual production of hydrogen, we're talking about a reasonable number of jobs there.
Eddie Hughes, a long-time advocate for the Still City to be the new home to a proposed hydrogen hub, a proposal Labor is planning to take to the next election. The member for Giles saying there are many benefits, including an already existing export facility at Port Bonython.
Because 2015, when we were losing jobs at the steelworks before administration, I wrote to the government at the time saying that we should conduct a serious study into setting Whyalla up as a hydrogen hub.
Another benefit, Whyalla to stop solely depending on one industry. Under the plan, a 200 megawatt hydrogen power station, 250 megawatt hydrogen electrolysers and a hydrogen storage facility will be built. But the state's energy minister has slammed the plan, telling the Whyalla News the opposition is basing its projected job numbers from the South Australian to New South Wales interconnector studies, a project the Labor Party opposes. Also saying Labor has been caught out on its energy policy again and has finally admitted to being on the wrong side of the interconnector, claiming the party has backflipped.
We should be doing all that we can to build up our capacity in South Australia.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Flinders Rangers Council has secured funding for the completion of its Streetscapes master plan thanks to a state government program. Mayor Greg Flint says it will significantly speed up the construction process.
It's a major cash injection set to boost these regional communities. The Flinders Rangers Council receiving more than $500,000 from the local government infrastructure partnership program.
And I can't thank both our federal and our state governments enough, because without that, it wouldn't be happening.
More than $1.7 million has now been allocated for the Streetscapes master plan, including a new performing and visual arts precinct in Quorn, new entranceways at Quorn and Hawker, improvements to key intersections, and the development of a walking path connecting Hawker's War Memorial and Dog Park.
Yes, it's to attract our visitors, but also for our community. It's making your space more pleasant.
The additional state government funding now securing the rest of the project and bringing forward its completion date.
So far received all the funding we need to actually finish the program. So our 10-year program is going to be finished in 2 years.
The member for Giles also supporting the announcement.
Yeah, it will be a great help for the Flinders Rangers Council to achieve what it wants to achieve for the communities.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
It's been 47 years since Port Pirie's Senior Citizens Club was established, and members have celebrated in style. After a tough year, they say their daily activities have supported positive mental health.
Celebrations in full swing at Port Pirie Senior Citizens Club. It's a full house with 75 seniors travelling from across the region to mark the 47th reunion.
Everybody's mixing in well, yes, and they have been laughing and jokes going around and things, yeah.
Members celebrating with music, food and some birthday cake.
People here are 50 and ranging through to Merv, which is 94.
It's exactly the relief these residents needed following a tough year with COVID-19 restrictions isolating many elderly locals. This bus picking up residents with daily activities on offer.
Have a bus that comes around and picks people up for a small amount of money, and they'll drop you back home afterwards.
Now their sights set on the 50th reunion, which isn't too far away.
When we get to 50 will be a bigger milestone, but yes, every year is a milestone.
Those interested in joining the club are being encouraged to reach out.
It's a matter of just Googling Port Pirie senior citizens and following the prompts.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Cinema lovers enjoy the flicks at Unearth Festival, and Broken Hill gears up for its first football match in 18 months. Hello again. Cinema buffs had the opportunity to be part of this year's regional film festival, with last night's choice of movie proving popular. Staff calling the night a success, with the event completely sold out 2 weeks prior.
A night under the stars. More than 50 local film fans piling into Whyala's Okkipos Gardens for this first time Unearth event.
Tonight is the launch of our official rebrand. So we used to be the Whyala Film Festival, and we've rebranded to be the Regional Film Festival just to be more inclusive of the other parts of our region that we reach out to.
The pop-up event screening the one film How's Moving Castle in an outdoor cinema.
How's Moving Castle is a Studio Ghibli film, so it's a pretty classic. It's suitable for families, and it was actually the first film I ever saw at a film festival when I was very young.
Hot popping popcorn and a range of cocktails, also a hit with attending locals.
Really nice to see everything come together. It's been an idea that I'd kind of had floating around. I really wanted to do some more pop-up events, some smaller things, just get people engaged.
The Arts and Cultural Director and first and foremost Michael's mum says she couldn't be more prouder.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. And it's wonderful to see her taking the reins and just following the things that she's interested in and making things happen.
With the venue also playing host to another sold-out function tonight.
Such a lovely spot, and really great to see community businesses get on board to become venues. Hope to see more of that next year.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta's Salvation Army has opened a brand new hub at Carlton Plaza. Staff say while it was time to expand their footprint, they also wanted to offer a bigger space for more community members.
It's the new community hub, catering for all.
We want to be there for the community. We want to be able to offer something that will be useful to our community members.
The Port Augusta Salvation Army has gone through a bit of a change, relocating its community centre and rebranding it as the Salvos Hub.
We just outgrew the space. There was just not enough room for all the people that wanting to come, and we were given the opportunity to move into this space, which used to be the furniture shop, and we took it with open arms.
The volunteer organisation now offering a bigger social centre with endless opportunities, as well as offering support to those in need.
So we've got like our garden club that we're starting up, we've got book clubs, we've got wellbeing programs, we're going to have craft days, just simple drop-in days.
Staff say it's all about providing a useful space for the whole community to enjoy. Residents are being encouraged to head on down and check it out.
We'll be open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for people just to pop in and spend time here if they would like. There's lots of other things happening through the week, but yeah, we just welcome people to come down and talk to us and find out if any of the other things might be of interest to them.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
It's been sidelined for 18 months, but footy will finally return to Broken Hill this weekend. New coaches, fierce rivalries and upgraded facilities headlining the much-anticipated 2021 season.
Getting in their final training sessions before kick-off. The Roos hoping to make it 4 in a row as teams get off the bench after an 18-month break.
Different coaches, you know, COVID-19 in between. I think that's made them a lot more enthusiastic and that sort of stuff.
Darren Smith taking the top job at South, a smooth transition so far.
It's a very good senior side that has been together for quite some time, so that sort of thing makes it easy for me.
But North will be breathing down their necks. The fierce rivalry between the sides set to continue.
South will always probably be the benchmark. They are year in, year out.
We like to be the guys that give them a good run for their money.
And they'll get a chance to do that this weekend. The top two from last season going head-to-head in the Lightning Cup on Saturday. North and West set to host the first bounce in the women's competition. It'll also be the first game to be played at the revamped Jubilee Oval. Volunteers praised for their efforts at last night's season launch.
They've worked non-stop at the Jube, 5 days a week. They've taken this project on as part of their own.
And no matter where your loyalties lie...
Doesn't matter who you play for and what team you play for, footy's back.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Our fishing experts will join us with their tips for the weekend. And we'll have the weather details with Alex. Welcome back. Cobalt Blues Mine has taken another step towards full production, announcing it secured groundwater allocations for its proposed spot near Broken Hill. The company could have access to 650 megalitres of water. CEO Joe Kataravic saying the announcement removes a significant risk to the project's future. Cancer Council's regional screening roadshow is set to visit Port Augusta tomorrow. With screening rates falling below the state average in the Outback North and East region, including Port Augusta, the organisation is delivering educational sessions to those most at risk. The Cancer Council says regular checks can save lives.
Staying up to date with their bowel, breast and cervical cancer screening programs to stay healthy and strong and help have the best fighting chance to find cancer early.
The roadshow will be held tomorrow at Central Oval. Let's take a look now at what's biting out in the Gulf waters this weekend. Here are our fishing experts with their tips.
Hi, Whalers Fishing Report this week. Again, the local jetty still producing a few crabs, many small ones there, so make sure you watch your sizes. Still plenty of annoying shitty fish down there, so you've got to filter through those, but still some good sized tommies. There has been some nice salmon trout at the base of the jetty as well. Also the salmon trout sprinkling over the foreshore in front of the cafe, and some nice silver whiting still coming in front of the foreshore as well. Out on the boat, still blue swimmer crabs running down towards Mount Young and further down towards Cowlitz Landing.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips from Port Pirie. It is a fantastic week coming up. We've had that little bit of cool weather with the rain, which gives us the start of our season. So what we're actually going to look forward to is some King George whiting over this weekend. We also have the last of the blue swimmer crabs coming along. I think we all must have a belly full of those at the moment. Probably need not many more to be caught, but the yellowfin whiting are starting to disappear. So perhaps the last fish of those over the weekend. And you'll be right. That's all we have from this week. We'll see you next week.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta to Jewel North. Well, the weather is expected approaching east is starting to get really nice, calming off. There are some stormy days in there, but they'll actually stir up the whiting. There are a few King George whiting starting to show up down the south end of the Flinders, down Chinaman's Creek and also around into Yatla Harbour. Lots of salmon around up in the creeks. Some garfish have been getting caught on the dab when you get these nice calm nights. Wait for the moon to go away or a cloudy night and the garfish will rise up there. Some silver whiting still along the front of the shacks when you get those big high tides. And the first lot of squid are starting to show up as far north as Port Patterson up around the powerhouse as well. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. We'll start over the Coffin Bay side. There were whiting caught around the Farm Beach grounds and up at Gallipoli and also around the oyster racks. There's also been quite a few nice garfish, some salmon trout and silver trevally caught around the oyster racks. And there's been a few gummy sharks in the bay system as well, in between lots of stingrays. Out wide of Point Sir Isaacs, there's been some red snapper, nanagai caught out that way, along with a handful of blue morwong. Well, that's all for Fishing Tips this week. We'll see you again with more tips next week.
Time to hear what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, Ruby. Beautiful conditions across our region today, with those conditions to continue in most parts over the weekend. More detail on that later. From 3 p.m. today, Port Augusta was mostly sunny and reached 25, partly cloudy in Kadina, a max of 22, and similar conditions in Coffin Bay, a max of 21 there. Looking further out across the region now, partly cloudy in 23 in both Whyalla and Port Pirie, mostly sunny in Broken Hill, also 23 degrees. Port Lincoln and Woodner was partly cloudy in 24 degrees. degrees. Cleve set to reach a high of 22. Clare got to a top of 21 and Cooper Pedy was mostly sunny and 26 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, cloud over the southeast in southwesterly winds is bringing the odd shower. Cloud over the west with a trough is bringing the odd shower and storm. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southwesterly winds 15 to 20 knots, but they will ease slightly around the middle of the day. Seas around 1 to 2 metres, and south to southwesterly swell around 1 to 1.5 metres. Looking ahead to tomorrow's temperatures now, Port Lincoln 24 and partly cloudy in Cleve and Woodner, both 23 degrees there. Possible shower in Whyalla, also set to reach a high of 23. A shower or two in Port Augusta to reach a max of 22. Kadina, partly cloudy, 23. Partly cloudy in Port Pirie and Broken Hill, also 23. And Clare, partly cloudy, 20 degrees. To the weekend's forecast now, mainly fine conditions across the region on Saturday with temperatures mainly in the mid-20s. Broken Hill, Port Pirie and Port Augusta all 25. Kadina, Whyalla and Port Lincoln 23, Woodner to top 24 degrees, Cooper Pedy 27 and showers in Adelaide 22. Heating up slightly on Sunday, sunny in the far north, north and east of the region, Cooper Pedy 27, Port Augusta 26, Broken Hill 23, partly cloudy across the rest of the region, 25 in Woodner and Port Pirie, Kadina to be a max of 24, 22 in Port Lincoln, 23 in Whyalla and Adelaide. Taking a look further through the week now, and it's set to be a beautiful sunny day on Monday, a max of 28 in Cooper Pedy, 29 in Port Augusta and Port Pirie, 26 in Whyalla and Kadina, Broken Hill and Adelaide both a max of 24 and partly cloudy and 24 in Port Lincoln. So some very nice autumn weather over the next few days, Ruby, and that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Wonderful, thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.